New clues tonight as to what may have happened to those two boys. I'm back with Annalise. I'm joined by Bobby Chacon, retired special agent, FBI, and Mark McBride, criminal defense attorney, who himself, he has a theory about this mystery. Now, Mark, you say foul play could have been a part. Why?
For a couple of reasons. You know, the last Snapchat message, the kids were apparently pretty good seafarers. It was we're effed. It wasn't inclement weather. Hey, Mom, this seas are horrible. We're in big trouble with the weather. It was we're effed. Also, the fact that the boat's battery was turned off, which is hard to do. It's very hard to do.
Mark, I mean, why would that be? Why would they be turning the ignition and the battery off? Is there any theory about that?
I don't think the kids were turning off the ignition and the battery. I think somebody who took over the boat or tried to...
Bob, you agree?
I agree. It could be. I mean, there are also some reasons they might have done it.
Like
they're obscure. Well, if they wanted to reserve their power, if they realized that the boat wasn't getting anywhere in the weather, they were just wasting their battery and wasting their fuel, they might have done that to conserve fuel. You know, it's probably not advisable to do that.
Was the weather so bad that it could explain what happened to these kids?
You know, I don't know the particulars of the weather that night, but I heard it was a storm that came in.
And Mark, why would someone want these two boys? Why would they want them dead or abducted? Was there some theory here, something more sinister?
Well, one of the family's attorneys said there was just a lot of fishing tackle on the boat. I mean, it could be just as simple as that. I mean, kids die for Air Jordans these days. People die for 40 bucks at the ATM machine.
So somebody came and just robbed them.
Kind of wannabe pirates, maybe.
Well, from an investigator standpoint, there's three things that could have happened. It could have been a natural incident like a storm. The other two fall under the foul play category. So under the foul play category, the first fork you might have is one of those boys doing damage to another one of the boys. Or the third one is somebody, an outside actor, an outside bad guy coming to that boat and performing bad acts.
Mark, as far as the boys doing something to one another, there's all this bad blood between the families. Does somebody have some suspicion about that?
I'm not hearing anything like that. From what I understand, the two boys had a very warm relationship.
Annalise, you look troubled.
You know, I guess I'm surprised that we're talking about it potentially being criminal activity at this point, because I don't see the pieces coming together. Yes, there was a Snapchat, but we don't know the context of that. It might be it's bad weather. I think that if you are actually going to die, you're unlikely to send that via Snapchat. Instead, you're going to try and do something else to contact authorities. I also think it's unlikely that the boat was taken over and we're relying on there being tackle in a Snapchat photo. It seems to me like it was a horrible, horrible tragedy. I don't see the criminal activity.
Accident.
Yeah, an accident.
And we don't even know the timing of that Snapchat that was sent. It could have been before they left the dock, my understanding is. Let me look at some of the timeline here. At 9:49 in the morning, Perry exchanged text messages with his mother. At 10, the boys buy $120 worth of fuel for the boat. At 10:25, the boys leave. We see them there at the Jupiter Inlet. At 11:24, Austin texts his father, "What's up? I'm checking in. I'm just out here fishing." Then at 1:16, Austin phones disconnect from the internet. And at 1:30, the storm hits the Jupiter area. Is that a sufficient sort of timeline, Bobby, to really give the story of just an accident?
Yeah, I think it is, and I personally think that that's probably what happened. I think that I've been involved in a number of these cases where children end up deceased, and the mothers have a very emotional reaction to it, and the need to find blame in some of these things is a strong one, and it tears families apart, and it tears friends apart.
Mark, I have to go to break. You sat back and sighed.
And I've been involved in enough homicides to see things start out as benign as possible, and then, you know, we're in the middle of a murder trial.
All right, next up, why are the families of the boys feuding? That's what we're really sort of getting into here now. What happened to them that turned them against one another?